Radio guys, okay to the video guys. We are here. I'm here with Dave Wheeler. Of course,
Hi.
This is your city, your voice.
Taz and Wheels.
Coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, in the studios of 4680Q. Right up there. I'm looking at it right there. You guys can't see it, but it's there. Believe me. Take my word for it. On this not bad Monday. I mean, considering we're January the 12th now? What is it? January the 13th today, actually. January 13th. We're halfway through January.
Lucky 13.
2 more weeks of January. 4 more weeks of February. And we're in March, Wheels. And that's it. It's over.
March.
Winter's over.
No.
Winter's over.
No.
Winter's over.
March goes right till May. Yeah,
March goes to May.
Well, I mean, winter goes all the way to May, pardon me, because everybody thinks March is the end of winter, and everybody's disappointed year after year. And we get massive snowstorms and ice and bad weather.
Down, boy, down. I celebrate this month.
Well, you know, I've woken up at the end of April and found big snow drifts and all that. No, I don't. I wait till May 1st. I don't want to be disappointed. So I would say that we're pretty close to May. But you know what? It hasn't been a bad winter so far.
No, it's been fantastic. Yeah. May the 1st of May be with you.
Everybody else gets crunched, and we're doing all right. A little smattering of snow here and there, and that's about it.
You gotta love it. You gotta love this weather, I'll tell you that. So today we discuss the City Council agenda for tomorrow's meeting on January 14th at 4 p.m. At the City Hall, in the City Council chambers, they call it. And we're going to go through that agenda with you, let you in on what's going on and how they're probably going to work with it. And that'll be it for the show today on this manic Monday. But first,
are you going to show them your?
Oh yeah, I got to show my City Council T-shirt. Here you go. There it is. Guy holding a brain saying, "Please use it." Let's go. Come on, smarten up down there on City Hall at Queen Street. First to my sponsors, though, Dave. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamill Machine Shop. And I want to say we've got through this winter easy. And if you really haven't taken care of your car, it doesn't mean we're not going to get winter. It could just blast us any minute. We know that January and February, very unstable months. So what you have to do is you got to take your car to go see Ken Hunter at Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. He's going to give you your car the once over. Brakes, tires, systems, heaters, everything. He's going to make sure it's running tip-top, throw it on the computer, give it a scan, make sure that all your systems are running right so you don't break down on the side of the road and have to deal with CAA on the worst day of the year. That's what you want, proactive, not reactive. And Ken says watch your suspension too, because this time of year suspensions can be under the gun because you're sliding in snow, hitting ice bumps and everything else. And you don't want that to break while you're out on the road. That's a safety issue as well. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership. And if you happen to get in a fender bender, don't worry about it. Get your car there. He has a full body shop. He'll take it in and send it out the door in showroom condition. Can't beat it. You'll be happy. I'll be happy. Support our sponsors because they support the city and they support the show. Also, subscribe to our channel here. If you go to YouTube and see this video, subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell us you like us. Tell us you hate us. It doesn't matter to us. My goal, and I know Dave's goal is the same. I'll speak for him, although usually I don't speak for other people. Maybe I do a lot more than I should. Is to get you involved. Right, Dave?
Exactly.
We want people involved.
Informed. And being involved sometimes is just getting informed. Keep an eye on what's going on. Be aware of what your city or Ontario government or Liberal government and whatever in Ottawa is doing, but be informed. And right here in town is where you got to start. You got to see what's going on. Right?
They're spending your tax dollars down in Queen Street here. If you don't care, well, then I got another shirt I'm going to wear tomorrow. but it's your money, so you should care. Your buddy wanted $100, you're going to ask, well, what do you need it for? You're not just going to give him $100, are you? I wouldn't. I'd say, what do you want it for? If you're going to go buy booze and dope with it, no, you're not getting it. You need it to buy food with, Yes, you are going to get it.
Okay, thanks for the heads up. I'll ask for
Yeah.
food.
Yeah, well, make sure. Yeah, make sure you tell me the right stuff, right?
The food that right beside the liquor store there.
So if they say they're going to use your money to buy a concrete ping pong table for $25,000, what do you say?
Hey, oh, for sure.
Yeah,
In a sarcastic way.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's get into this agenda now. We've changed the format for the agenda because to go through every point is useless. A lot of it's just a bunch of fluff. So we picked out the most important ones, and then what we're going to do is discuss them with you and let you know what's going on, and then you can make a decision when you're watching the meeting whether it's a yay or nay to what they're planning.
Could I just add at the very beginning that
Yes.
they're doing their in-camera meeting today instead of Tuesday, which I celebrate because that will. Or do you have a point there?
Yeah, the in-camera meeting today is an educational session for the budget next week. No, that's right. No, they're not doing. Are they doing? No, an in-camera is for next week before the budget.
Oh, I thought they were doing one today.
I think they're doing it at 2:00. They changed the format where they do it at 2:00, and then 2 to 4, and then 4 they start the general public meeting. Now I could be wrong. I didn't pay attention to that because they changed the format last meeting. They decided to go with a different format moving forward for meetings.
Well, I just like to think that it was. I saw that it was separate from the actual meeting, which I thought was a good thing.
Yes,
that it doesn't prolong the meetings at all. For the 14th agenda, and there was a 13th agenda. So that's the that's the closed meeting educational center
for the budget.
Operation Budget in camera. That's today.
That's today.
So I like the fact that they didn't add it to tomorrow's meeting.
Yeah, no. That's a special meeting so that Mayor Jim can tell them exactly how they're going to vote next Tuesday.
Yeah, they do have the means of adjusting it. There's all the rules that happen, but it's the strong mayor powers.
Yep.
And Mayor Jim sizing himself up with a crown any day now.
Yes. So the first stop for me in this whole agenda here was item 6, the whole 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3, which should be moved to the proper place. And what they are is deputations and presentations. And you have a bunch of people getting awards and getting recognition for service and that kind of thing. My thing is if it's a sports award, do it at the Gale Center outside of the general meeting. This is a business meeting, not an awards ceremony. And if it's for recognition for things people have done for the city, they can have it at the McBain Center. And they take it out of the business meeting agenda. And 6.3 is a person that wants to address council about homelessness. So that point I didn't include in here because it's fine. I mean, somebody wants to address council, that's the time to do it. They're talking about business. Yeah,
I mean, there is nothing in there that tells us the format or whatever, but we can, it's for the Christian pastor of the Christian ministries, talking about homelessness. They probably have some very important information. So yeah, that is city business, but all the deputations and the civic awards and all that other stuff should be done at a different time.
I would say that in a proper venue. If it's sports, you go to the Gale Center. That's our sports center. McBain Center, that's our community center, right?
Well, look, they already got the camera set up and everything right at City Hall. So all they have to do is flick them on, whatever, and have an hour or something once a month, whatever.
Yeah,
for those things, you can separate it completely.
Yeah,
have a once a month time which is devoted to awards and things of this kind.
Yeah, I agree. You can get it out of the meeting because we pay $1,600 an hour for our staff to be sitting there watching award ceremonies, and they want to cut the time of the meeting down. That's one way to do it. They want to save money. The other way is to take those things right out of there. And thing. And I know it's fine for the mayor to be shaking everybody's hand and kissing babies and everything that mayors do. But when it's costing us $1,600 an hour, no. That's my sentiment. If you don't agree with me, let me know in the comments on the video when you see it.
I concur.
So then we move on to 7.1, and we both picked this one out. Dave and I both picked this one out. This is regarding 4200 Queen Street, which is basically the old King Eddie property. and they want to build a 20-story mixed-use building on it, and they're looking to change the bylaw or zoning application, because basically they want it zoned for 20 stories. It's only zoned for 10 right now. They only allow 10.
Yeah. And one of the points I like to raise is, where is affordable housing in any of the description? There is no description about affordable housing. I saw nothing.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I was looking too, because I know
Yeah.
Lori Lacoco always asks,
Yeah.
and I didn't see anything in there. Although the one here at 4500 Park Street that's going along with this thing about 20 stories, I think they did say in there that it would be attainable housing, or I think they used some word like that. I didn't see affordable housing though.
I think they're also going to use it somewhat for a dormitory for student
Yes.
habitation. So it may be, but still all in all, I would like to have seen some kind of profit or affordable, some kind of definition of how many. We never get that, do we? We get it with these vague ideas. Oh, well, it's attainable or whatever. How many are going to be affordable? How many?
Well, they're supposed to have a percentage of these buildings that are. I don't know what they said, what, 20% or something like that. There's a number that they usually use, that they ask for. So
Are they asked for them, or are they strictly applying it?
well, it has to do with other factors, like, that's great to have affordable housing when there's amenities available. So people who are in affordable housing probably don't have cars, and that maybe they can't afford them in that. So they
That's
like to put
perfect
them.
for this.
This should be all affordable.
Yes.
housing. The Meteor Crater, it's right there. Same with the place where the King Eddie used to be, and that's going to be for a mixed use with student housing in it. So
I think
they've
that
got
was
two
part of
going
that.
on.
I think that was part of the approach, that it's going to be close to the transportation network. So, having said that, in their description, I thought, well, does this mean it's affordable or attainable or
Well,
housing?
I'm hoping that they do make that a part of it, right? I mean, these are perfect areas for it.
Also, a perfect
So-
area for people to buy up condos or apartments and use them for Airbnbs because of their location. So, is there any safeguards of that?
Well, we'll find out tonight, I guess, at the meeting. That's a great question.
Yeah.
And the city currently has a buyer for the Queen Street property, but I've got a feeling they want 20 stories because more units and they can make more money. And the same with this one here, the Meteor Crater across the street at 4500 Park Street. More units mean more money. So it would make it more attractive to anybody who wants to develop it. I think that's what the whole idea is behind that.
What about the when you go down to the King Eddie, the old King Eddie?
I was there a lot.
Yeah, it had. I like the artistic dancing that went on there.
Well, I like the way you said that. When you go down, it wasn't, well, if you go down, check that. It's when you go. Too bad it wasn't still there. That was a fun place.
Yeah, it was. I had a lot of fun there myself. As I said, I like the performing arts like anyone else.
Yeah, that's right. Arts and culture.
Yes,
That's
it
what we
was.
strive for in Niagara Falls.
But that's a big piece of property, and it has a kind of heritage-looking neighborhood. You're going to put this building up. How is it going to conflict with the neighborhood that's already there?
Well, I'm hoping that when they build it, they include architecture that kind of reflects old Queen Street. Like that kind of thing. To make it really, really nice and fit in.
It would be nice if they thought that way, but concrete and glass, concrete, steel, and glass is the way to go, fast and quick. So I don't really, and this city just doesn't have an artistic bent. We don't have an aesthetic ideal. We knock down our nice old buildings. We don't really pay much mind to all that, and the city council sort of gives it lip service. That's all. So they don't have that aesthetic quality that I wish we would have. Hunk of steel and concrete's good enough. No, it's not. I'd like to have some sort of nice design that would blend in with the neighborhood. It is a heritage. It's the oldest part of the town, really.
Oh, well, yeah, Clifton would be like Center Street down there. Clifton area is pretty old, but yeah, downtown, of course, is old, and there's a lot of buildings here that reflect the age of how long it's been around. So it'd be neat if they could build something at least with concrete and steel, but at least that has some
aesthetic qualities.
Yeah, it's some throwback to the old days,
Yeah,
You know, it's like the cheapest way is just to build a box and go up and call it a day. But then you get Regent Park in Toronto,
yeah,
so you get
yeah.
that kind of look, right?
Well, if in the day they wanted to make it pleasing to the eye. Look at the old powerhouse right there on River Road.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of money was put into making it pleasing to the eye and welcoming to people who saw it. Unfortunately, now we don't have that kind of idea. Just put it up, glass, steel. That's it. Glass, steel, concrete.
As cheap as they can go, and they can make the most money.
Yeah.
7.2. We're moving on. We're moving on. So those two properties going to get rezoned for 20 stories, so they can put more apartments in, and make it more attractive to developers. And they have a developer for Queen Street down where the old King Eddie was. That's how that's going to end up. We'll see what City Council says. They're going to approve it, and then we'll see in the next few meetings if we actually have somebody moving on it because of it.
Well, it says mixed use, so the old King Eddie, maybe they can,
Student.
maybe, yeah, they can have students in there, but they can also have the performing arts come back, at least in a corner there.
Yeah. Street dancers. 7.2, creating a boarding rooming house out of the old Bethesda building on Beaver Dams Road, which was later the Nipigon Retirement Home. And that's at the top of Beaver Dams, just off of Lundy's Lane. They want to turn that into just a rooming house, boarding house. And of course, when you hear that, what do you think of? I think of Summer Street and bums and homeless and everything else.
How do they spell Nipigon?
Mipigon. N as in Nick.
Okay. Well, it's like Nipigon on up at Lake.
Yeah, Lake Nipissing, Lake Nipigon.
Yeah. And my mother was born in Nipigon.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, that's interesting. My dad was born up there too. West Nipissing, Sturgeon Falls, that area.
Yeah.
So same thing. So anyway, of course, there's objections from neighbors since this is it's kind of a transient form of housing, and much like Summer Street, crime, noise, depreciation of surrounding private residences, and the potential for more units in the future. They're valid concerns. That's the concerns there. Allegedly, the site will be monitored by staff and cameras 24/7. Outdoor space will be buffered by the building, and noise bylaws are in effect. And they say there's no evidence of a home of this kind depreciates values of the surrounding homes. Has council not learned from Summer Street? We'll find out tonight or tomorrow night when they have the meeting.
Well, this is not a regional thing. It is a development for low cost housing. Basically, It's a boarding house. Now, when I lived on Ontario Avenue, there was a boarding house down the street. Never any problem with it.
Oh, there you go.
So you never any problem at all. But in this particular case, I don't want to sound like it's racist or anything, but that is a problem area there. Anyway, like they have a lot of drugs and bad actors in and around that area, close to Montrose and Lundy's Lane. They have the Candlelight. Was it the Candlelight Hotel that was close by there? That's quite often used by the welfare, whatever you call it, welfare nowadays. So I'm not so sure, but on the other hand, the developer or that person that wants to change it into a boarding house has a South Asian name, I believe, and I'm wondering if it's just a way in which to house a lot of South Asian people. In which case, it would probably be very safe.
Yeah, I think his name's Pradesh or Pete or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's like Indian or Punjabi or something.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that.
You think that's what he's going to load it up with?
I believe so. Because there would be a big demand for that, particularly here in Niagara Falls, and there'd be like a lot of students possibly in there, but low cost housing because it's a boarding house, probably for a lot of immigrants. And which to me would mean that it would probably be very, very, very safe. So you wouldn't get a lot of people on the edge of society trying to get by, and maybe that's all they can afford. I would think it's probably be more like students or people trying to get their feet established as new immigrants and things like that. So and they're supposed to have a guard out front as well. So
yes,
but will anybody be able to gain access? And this is my problem with this. I feel it will probably be focused on South Asians for them, and they may get exclusive rights to it in contravention to our human rights laws of other kinds. So
That could be.
so
Could be.
that's my issue with that. Will everybody get a stab at it? Anybody that's kind of poor and need a place to stay, will anybody get a stab at it, or will it be excluded?
That's a good point. I never thought of that, but yeah, when you see what's going on in the city and that, it's a possibility. And boarding houses, they got a bad name today, but back in the day, that's where people went. There was boarding houses all over. Every home was a boarding house, basically. Like, people were coming from Italy. My grandmother on Kitchener and Stanley Avenue took in a lot of Italians from Calabria, that when they came to the new country here, and they boarded with my grandmother. And before they could get a job and buy a house and everything, it was cheap board, and she'd feed them room and board, right?
Yeah.
And it'd be very, very inexpensive way back then. And
very common.
And it was good, a little bit of extra money for my grandmother in that, and my grandfather. He'd be my great grandmother and grandfather. But back in the day, boarding houses were totally acceptable, and it was the way people did it. But since that time, and the Great Depression and everything, they've gone the way of the dodo, and anything that says boarding house right away is a bad connotation.
Yeah.
Even though it might not be. So yeah, it's a tough one.
I myself, I boarded rooms myself. I boarded 2 different rooms when I lived in Peterborough. So there's nothing wrong with them.
No.
Basically, all you do is you share the facilities. You get your own little bedroom, basically, and then you share the washroom and kitchen facilities. And it actually brings out the best in you, because now you're more neat than you normally would be. You clean up after yourself in the kitchen as soon as you finish, rather than wait, half a day.
Yep.
Whatever. So it brings out the best in you as a person when you cooperate with others. So it's a good starting place. Or in the old days, a lot of older folk would board rooms. You get 70, 80-year-old or 70-year-old guys who lost their wives or whatever, and their families weren't around. They didn't have pensions and stuff like that. They'd get a small amount of money from the government, Social Security of that kind. And it was just enough to get a room, and have a sink in it maybe, and a little tobacco, and that's just about all they could afford back in those days.
True enough. So we're going to move on to 7.5, and this is very interesting because it goes back to other meetings about this. And it's about SciTech and building out that way. But we're going to get into that after I talk about my second sponsor, Victoria Avenue Pete's Pizza. And I don't know if you like pizza or not. I've never met anybody who doesn't.
Oh, no.
But I know I do. Pizza's my staple. It was like potatoes to the Irish back in the famine. Potatoes, right?
I love it too. I'd eat a complete anchovy pizza. That's how much I like it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to go to Victoria Avenue Pete's Pizza if you want it. This guy, Mike, over there, he knows how to make a pizza. He gets the Mancini family recipe that's been around for 40 years in crust, and he uses those to make his pizza. He's got the Saputo mozzarella with the brick cheese. He mixes it, puts it in the right ratio with that beautiful Mancini sauce, and he knows how to cook a pizza. It comes out beautiful. You are going to love it. I've sent 3 or 4 people there from my show. They've heard about it and went there. Not one of them complained about it. So, there you go. That's a testimonial right there. But they don't just carry pizzas. They have great wings. They have great panzerotti. I had a panzerotti. It was really good. They have steak and cheese poutine, other kinds of poutine. They got a whole menu. You can't go wrong. Victoria Avenue's Pete's Pizza. Just dial in. 37. It was number 905-374-2222. Yeah, I still talk in 1960s language here. 374-2222. I forget the 905. We never had to dial that when we were kids.
No, as a matter of fact, if you had a 35 number, all you had to do is 475 whatever. Yeah. You just dial the 4. Remember, you didn't have to even put the whole area code in.
But let's get it right. 905-374-2222, or go to petespizzavictoria.ca. You can order online, and they have Skip and all the other stuff that people use today. But you're going to be happy, and you're going to get a great pizza. Support our sponsors, because they support the show and they support the city, and they make a damn good pizza.
Oh, well, I might just have to leave. Do you want something from pizza?
Yeah, I get a calzone. I like calzones too. Good calzone or panzerotti, say about the same thing. Okay, so over to 7.5. And it's interesting if you're following along because it encompasses an area that is within the 2-kilometer SciTech zone where development is not encouraged due to flare-ups from the SciTech plant and possible harm to residents. Now, SciTech is encouraging council to wait until their hearing comes back from the OLT scheduled to commence April 7th, 2025 before deciding to approve this development. And if they make the decision to allow it at the meeting tomorrow, they will be deemed it will be deemed an attempt to circumvent land use planning appeal rights SciTech may have and to stifle SciTech's input to land use compatibility concerns around SciTech's facility. And they are in that 2-kilometer buffer zone that SciTech said you should leave and not develop because if we have a flare up, it could affect the individuals. We've told you about it. Now, if you develop it, it's in the ball's in your court, and you're responsible. And they came to City Council a year ago, maybe a little bit more, telling them the same thing about other developments as well.
Well, it's interesting. This is on McLeod and Beechwood.
Yes,
in that area there, and SciTech is duty bound to make everyone aware that you are now getting into danger zones to within a 2-kilometer of SciTech. Now, SciTech was there before this development was basically, and they are duly warning you that it is a problem, and they are, and if you approve such a thing, there is legal ramifications for this, but also they can wash their hands of it. We told you so. We told you so. We told you so about the Grassy Brook one. We told you so about this. So if there was ever a problem, we were there. We told you. We wash our hands of it. But we have told you.
That's right. That's why they're at council. And they're submitting a letter. And they're saying don't allow it. And they allowed it anyway. And they're going to the OLT to get some kind of a decision. And they're advising council not to decide on this one until the OLT comes back on April 7th with their decision, or until at least it's heard.
Yeah, the lawyers come up with quite a good letter here.
So I expect this to be deferred by City Council. That would be my expectation. But
yeah, you never know.
Hey,
you got to use the brain. I don't know if they know that.
Please use this.
So SciTech maintains its objection to the proposal.
Yes.
In the letter, notwithstanding, it is our understanding from staff and city legal counsel that council may make the determination and on the current applications immediately following. No, that cannot happen until the Ontario Land Tribunal has made a decision.
That's right. So I look for it to be deferred. I don't think council's going to make a decision on this tonight. They surprise us sometimes. So am I right or wrong? We'll find out. And this probably will be on around 6:00 or something, somewhere in around there when they get it.
Well, they're even talking about the Superior Court of Justice.
Mm-hmm.
So serious business.
Serious business. Moving on to item 8.1, accommodation tax. And what the thing is right now it's a flat fee of $2 a room, any room that's rented. And they want to raise it in accordance with the hotel rating rather than the same rate for all hotels. In motels, they want to do it by the star. 5-star is $7 per night, 4-star $6, 3-star $5, 2-star $4. Unrated properties, $5 flat fee. So they want to just raise this $2 fee to raise more money. I don't know, Dave. I'd say they're going to go with it.
Well, they probably will. My first question is, who has eyes on this money? Basically, what they're saying is the hotels collect it, then they give it to Niagara Tourism, which is supposed to be a nonprofit to promote Niagara, right?
Yes.
Who knows how much money they make, how much money is transferred, who's got eyes on it? Where are the books? Has anyone done any accounting on it? Is there an auditor general type of view of this? Nobody seems to have known this anytime I've asked a question. So the hotel collects it. Okay, so ostensibly it's on its books. And then they transfer it to Niagara. Who then is responsible for making sure that money is well spent?
Well, that's a good question. Do they actually every month send a number of rooms that they rented times $2? and here's what we owe you, and here's what the balance is.
That's what I'd like to know.
I'd probably say there's some kind of a system like that, but I mean, you don't know whether they're telling the truth because how do you know how many rooms they actually rented as opposed to things? So I guess it's an on your honor system.
Well, that's one of the reasons why hotels used to be, I don't know them nowadays, but it used to be the best way of laundering money is because you never know how many people are coming in or going, right?
Yeah,
That has to be,
that's right.
You can charge some and not charge some, have two books. And so I'm wondering, and where is that money? Where is the accountability? Where is it listed? How come the public doesn't know how much they take in? How much then goes to the Niagara Tourism nonprofit? And how and does the Niagara Tourism then give accounting for what they do? So is there any eyes on this at all? Is it following anything? Now they want to up
That's a
the
good
rates.
question.
They want to up the rates and put it at a percentage basis rather than if you spend $50 a room in an Airbnb or $500 a room, you still get $2 charge. They want to make this a percentage thing in line with other tourist towns that do the same thing. So,
Well,
yeah, you
I
suppose
thought
so.
it was they're just going to go by star rating of the actual hotel, by a flat rate, $7 per night for a 5-star, 4-star, $6. I didn't think they were going to go for the percentage.
Well, I thought it was percentage. I may have read it wrong then.
But the one question I have while you're looking that up, maybe you can look it up again. My question is, do A, B, and Bs have to pay since they offer the same kind of stay? A temporary stay, so much per night. They're not rated. They wouldn't be rated. So they would just pay the flat $5 fee of an unrated property. And I think they should have to pay as well. I mean, they are staying there. Why should they get away with it without paying anything? And the hotels have to pay it. I mean, if you're going to be fair about it, be fair to every A and B in town. Airbnb, I should say, right?
Yeah. So one of the reasons for this is the fact that they claim that we kind of maxed out on our tourists. Basically, that there are just so many people coming all the time, and we have to pay for whatever the tourist industry does to promote Niagara Falls. And they seem to have leveled off. They didn't in their process here. It seems that they want to support the industry, but the industry is sort of plateaued, and they don't expect a huge increase. And that the tourist industry right now is maintainable at its level, but it really doesn't show much signs of growing. So that's one of the reasons why they want to change the fee schedule in order to draw in some more money and to further promote Niagara.
Yeah, there you go. And if they've been listening to Stan Cho, who is the Minister of Tourism in Ontario, he's been saying he wants to double it to 26 million people here a year in the region rather than just 13 million. So, this is going to be a nice little money making thing if he can double up on it. And it'll also spur other hotels to go up and that kind of thing, all these planning things that we have. So it's going to be interesting to see if they approve this. I think they will. I think City Council will. And I don't know if you found the percentage yet, but I kind of read this. And either way, though, it's going to make more money for the promotion of Niagara Falls and Niagara's region, probably. So
Niagara Falls had originally established MAT as a fixed dollar amount, while almost all destinations use a percentage.
Yeah.
Enough room. Okay. So
if you look down lower, it gives you the rates for 5 stars. They're just going to up it. I don't think they're going to go with the percentage. I think they're just going to go with a flat fee.
Well, it says here most municipalities established the MAT at a rate of above 2%, and the average daily rate in Niagara Falls is significantly higher than $100. Yeah, sorry, can't sort it completely out here.
Yeah,
but anyway, they're gonna raise the rates, which doesn't bother me so much, except that I want accountability for that. And it is not a tax, by the way; it's a fee. And and you have no legal right to refuse the fee, but they really don't have much if you do refuse it.
No, this one they have to pay. This is a legal fee that's been put through.
Yeah, it's the other one. It's legal but not enforceable. So if they went to, I don't want to pay this fee, then they would have trouble enforcing that.
I think they
I
got.
believe.
I think that's the other one that you're talking about. This one is a $2 fee, and that has to be paid. There's no, I can't get out of it for everybody who
Tourist
gets room.
tax clarification, please. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, I think that's they went to this because the other fees were deemed illegal, and people could say no, and that's your fee for your dinner and all that other stuff. Locals would just say no, I'm not paying that. But if they stay, they have to pay this $2 no matter where they're from.
Yeah,
Most big-
I in other places I've had to pay it, so I
Yeah,
didn't really.
Las Vegas has it. Most tourist towns have a fee, and that's like to promote it and everything for promotion and that. That was the problem with the other fee. It wasn't legal, and hotels weren't submitting it. They just were pocketing it and going to Florida for the winter.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And back in those days, okay, here you have it. There is no legal right
Is it
to
right there?
refuse paying. Yeah,
All
for
right.
paying the 3% fee, or other than it is not a tax. It is a charge imposed by the hotel, just as if it were charged as a fee for telephone calls, Wi-Fi, or parking.
And that's for this we're talking about now.
No, it's general. It's a general information. It's
Yeah.
come from TripAdvisor.
Yeah, that's that other one. That's
It
that
says,
other
"Can you
tax.
refuse to pay tourist tax in Niagara Falls?"
Yes,
That's the title, and what
Yeah.
I read was the answer to that.
but that's not this one. That's that other thing.
That's
they
the
put
one
on.
we have now.
Yeah, that's the one they put on. This was put in, and it's legal, and it's $2 a room right now, but they're going to raise it. So we'll see what council says about this tonight.
It says the Met in Niagara Falls collect a $2 per room per night municipal accommodation tax.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so it is a very, very low tax or fee, basically.
Yeah.
So they want to revise that because they haven't. They don't see too much increase in accommodations or tourism coming forward. So they're going to need that money. So they say. So they claim to promote Niagara, so it doesn't burden the taxpayer.
Yes, that's exactly it. 8.3 interim tax levy, and I know you didn't mark this down as one, but just a quick explanation to viewers. What happens is that because they don't pass the budget and know what the tax rate is until the end of January, and the next meeting, January the 20th, 21st, your tax bills have to go out. They need money to operate the city, so they're already going out. So what they do is they just charge you the rate last year of your last 2 months of last year, and they'll do that for 2 months, and then they'll pick up the real rate, including the increase this year on your last two tax bills, because you paid 4 a year, quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. So they're going to pick that up on the last two like they do every year. It's just authority for them to do that.
Yeah, this is to give them cash flow.
Yes,
Basically,
exactly.
the way the fiscal thing happens, if they waited for it to all come, they would have bills accrued. So this is to give them operating money. Very reasonable, I think. Very reasonable way of doing it.
Well,
very common as well.
Yeah, they have to do it. So just an explanation if you're wondering what the interim tax levy is. It's just a way to collect money for the first and second quarters. They don't know how to charge it because they haven't raised the taxes yet until the end of January. So they're just going to charge you last year's rate, and then you'll pick up the increase if there is one on your last two bills of 2025. 8.4, selling surplus lands. And I wouldn't mention this great idea at all, but Jody Burdett was on the show a month ago talking about how much money the city was leaving on the table and about an exercise that could raise millions for the city. He talked about selling surplus lands. And now here we are. It looks like City Council's listening because they have a bunch of 129 properties, they said, or something that they're going to look into selling.
Yeah, that'll get us money, but it'll be short-term gain because once they're gone, they're gone. There's also that to remember. Also, if the city could take their surplus property, like the one, for the old
Queen Street,
King Eddie, they can convert that into housing. And still, I think that's a very good idea to take some of their surplus property and do that. And just like the Ontario government planned to take some of the schools that were no longer used and change that land into places where either businesses or housing can happen. The thing of note here, though, this is the one place they talk about affordable housing because that's the one in my surprise. I'm expecting it on the other ones, right? The other things we mentioned, but here they talk about land that could be used for affordable housing. Well, sounds nice. Less seeing is believing.
Yes, well, that's the end of the day. So we'll see what happens with that. It's just a thing they want to sell the surplus land. I think they should. Well, you know, what's it for? Sell it to developers. Sell it to somebody to develop it. We're just holding on to it for,
I don't know, in case we need it.
I guess, in case we need it.
And we need it. We need it now. But there's two things. The way to look at it is, yeah, sell whatever surplus land was not useful for the city or in parcels of shapes or sizes that wouldn't be too easily used for anything probably other than housing or businesses of some kind.
Exactly.
But the other fact of the matter is that once it's sold, it's gone. And it is a short-term gain. So you sell a property and you get the gain this year. Say you sell it all this year, you get the gain this year, but thereafter you've got nothing. So
Unless it's developed, then you got
Yeah.
taxes and development fees and everything. So interesting. 8.9 is a big NO for me. And I resent having to subsidize people with EVs with taxpayer dollars. This goofy project is going to cost taxpayers around $5 million, and 99% of taxpayers do not have EVs that would use the charging stations. And to me, this is a woke agenda at work, and unless there are charges to use these stations, in other words, they're not going to be free, user fees per se, to recover tax money spent, I cannot ever approve this. Private enterprise should be doing this, not the city. Let's get back to what the city does. Roads, water, sewers, clean and safe. There's nothing about EV charging stations in our city council's mandate to build EV charging stations. So I'm against this. I say no.
I'm for it because it's free money. It's
There you
coming
go.
from the province. So it may make our city look a little more attractive to people who use EVs. I'm thinking of tourists and things like that. So
Well, some's
It
coming
says-
from the province.
yeah, it says the resolution to today's agenda to accept the provincial funding and authorize the mayor and the clerk to execute any documents necessary as part of an EV charge on grant requirements. So that tells me that it might not cost us a whole lot.
I figured 5 million when I read it. So I could be wrong, and we'll find out at council meeting, but I wouldn't spend a dime on this. I wouldn't spend a dime on it. 99% of the people don't have it. 99% of the people don't want it. So why are we spending money on it?
I can kind of see like getting EVs out, or not just electric cars, but maybe electric bikes or something, and that could be adapted for the tourist trade some way or another. But because it depends on how much the city has to put up, you know what I mean? And we're just talking about land that we aren't using. We could put them there, but look we got vehicle charging station pilot program and all this. Yeah, EVs are coming. If they don't come, we're in bad shape because Ontario and Canada has made a huge investment in electric EVs, and if they don't take off, we're in big trouble.
Well, they're not good, and they're already closing plants. GM and all the other big car companies said, no, we're not building them because nobody's buying them. They got fields of them.
Well, they put postponing it, so I think eventually it will come because electric vehicles are much more efficient use of energy than combustion cars. But we will see. But in the meantime, if it's not going to cost us any, sure.
Yeah, if it's free,
Yeah.
I'd take it.
Yeah.
I'd take anything free, but it's going to cost us $5 million from what I figure out. So, hey, check it out yourself. That's the best way. Item 8.9, and we'll see what they say about it tonight. This is why we're bringing this to you, so you can look at it, and when you see the city council meeting, then you'll know what to look for.
Yeah,
And-
you got a heads up.
And 8.10, we're going to get to, and it's about the old hospital. What's going to happen with it when the new hospital comes into being in 2028? And I'm going to get back to that after I talk about my third sponsor, which is one Dave loves, Hamel Machine Shop. And when you need anything made of metal, when you break something that's metal, anything that you need to do with that metal fabrication, you want to go to Hamel Machine Shop and ask them to help you with it. You need custom welding. You need gates made for your backyard. Anything you need with metal, they can do it. They can weld it, get it powder coated, probably help you put it up if you're really nice. But yeah, they're fantastic. And that's what they do there. They have laser cutters to print those nice fancy signs with your address on it. They have 3D printers to print pieces of that are made out of plastic and nylon that you might have broken and you need a new piece and you don't know where to get it. Now you know anything you need done with metal or the 3D or the laser, go down and see the guys at Hamel Machine Shop. And of course, industry needs them, right, Dave?
Darn right. You have to have somebody that's astute and have ability to work in the metal trades. And you're talking about milling machines and lathes as well. You know, you need that. If you want to invite any kind of manufacturing into town, then you're going to need a reliable machine shop of that kind. So when I saw this commercial, I was thrilled. Yeah, definitely. Tell the world we've got a machine shop here that can service you.
Yeah, and these guys know what they're doing. They've been around since 1948. So yeah, you want anything done, you know where to go now. I know where to go now. Hamel Machine Shop, and they've got a place on Bridge Street. It's Hauser's Welding, and they have one at Ken Avenue. So there's a few locations around the city to serve you, and they're really, really great people. They'll help you with anything you need. HamelMachine.ca is where you go to their website to see what they do, and you're going to see some spectacular work that they do for wineries and that kind of thing, as well as cities. They fix everything in the city. Anything that needs machining in that city goes to them. That's where they go. Hamel Machine Shop.
Hey, Hamel, do you need a welder? I got my welding.
Yeah.
Well, I used to have them anyway.
Get your welding ticket. I know a guy at Hamel that can help you. Okay, so support our sponsors. They support them, and tell them if you go there, do tell them that Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. Now, 810, City Council is looking for people to help with uses for the hospital lands when the hospital's scheduled to close in 2028. As the new hospital opens its doors, that's when it's supposed to open. There have been all kinds of suggestions: old age homes, homeless centers with in-house treatment facilities for addiction and mental health issues. The problem is, when they take all these recommendations at the end of the day, Dave, the place is loaded with asbestos. It was built in the 50s, the late 50s, and any kind of remediation to allow for any kind of residential occupation could be costly, because you know what it costs to clean up asbestos. It's a procedure that is so tenuous, most people just burn their buildings down, like the Twin Towers. So anyway, that's the problem with it. So it's good that they're planning now 3 years ahead of the event to find out exactly what they're up against, because 3 years goes fast, and they do want to know what we're going to do well before the day comes to do it. So kudos to City Council for taking a look at this now, and it's going to be interesting to find out exactly what they're going to do with it.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is they can leave the hospital there and the nurses' residence behind it for, well, it could still be used for individual doctors and all that. The other floors can be used as residencies if you would like. You could put retirement homes or boarding houses, but the land goes all the way back. It includes the old hydro lands, doesn't it?
Well,
or the railway lands, the old railway lands or something back
well,
there?
there's the hydro right-of-way that runs by it, and then just on the other side is Gerber's.
Yeah. So there's a lot
Gerber building.
There's a lot of land there that can be used.
Oh, yeah.
Now you have two buildings now. The asbestos is not as problem as long as it's encapsulated.
Right.
Now to get rid of it, you have to sort of parts of it, de-encapsulate it. So if you've ever seen asbestos removal, the guys are in a hazmat suit. They have negative pressure inside the building, right? So nothing can get out. It's negative pressure. That's costly. It's all netted and tarped, and it's dangerous work for the people who work in it, because even after they're done, they're going to have to get the dust off of them before they disrobe and take their masks off and stuff. Believe me, I've done part of this.
It's a real specialty thing. Only so many people do it, so it's very expensive.
Yeah, and I've done that, removed asbestos in different places, so I know what it is. So it's going to be very, very expensive. Right now, it's better to keep it encapsulated, and it's useful now. It's not dangerous now. What you want to do then is to convert it into something you can use. You can put doctor's offices in there because it's already got tuned up for medical. You can put on the top floor. You can put people there that don't need intensive care but still need hospital care, maybe something of that kind. So you still have this medical facility there in both the nurses building and the hospital. So that can be converted, I would think, to some sort of, if at the very least, housing. At the best, the best use of it would be to continue for doctors and clinics and that kind of thing. We do need more clinics because we can't get enough doctors, so we're going to need clinic space. So that could be used for clinic space.
Yeah, there's a lot of different uses for this property, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it because, I mean, it's prime real estate right on Stanley Avenue and the highway. You got that parking lot the city bought across the street, the old casino parking lot there, overflow lot that they used to shuttle people from. So there's a lot of potential there for a resort type of thing with the casino. There, because Ford is going to open it up for more casinos. So to build a resort type of thing with a hotel, casino, they got parking, and just bulldoze that thing, take it down. And when you have unlimited money to be able to do it, then it's not a big problem to haul it away in that. So that would be a perfect place for it on Stanley Avenue and the QEW. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of buildings or what they're going to do with this. And there'll be some good discussions about it over the next 3 years for sure.
Well, Ford said that, but I don't trust him. Where's my bucket beer? Don't see it. Don't see it. Where's my $200? I don't see it. He's all said all these things. Come on, Dougie. Get us the bucket bear.
Yeah, pony up.
Get us the $200. Then we'll worry about the other stuff.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Just keep an eye on that one. It's going to be an interesting discussion. I don't think there's going to be too much discussion about it, but it's going to be an interesting discussion over the next 3 years. Keep your eye on it. 812 AMPS, Administrative Monetary Penalty System for non-parking matters.
Yep.
Now, I wouldn't even talk about this because all they're doing is saying, listen, if you break the bylaw, we're going to start fining you in that. But we're going to make it like parking tickets. You don't have to go to court and fight it. You don't have to do anything. Just plead guilty by signing it, pay your money, and you're out of here. So they want to do that kind of a thing with these bylaw enforcements. But they want to add different things to what they already have because they have like the clean yard bylaw, vacation rental units and bed and breakfast establishments, and noise control bylaws. But they want to add property standard bylaw, public nuisance bylaw, licensing provisions for illegal peddling and solicitation bylaws, require adequate heat bylaw, idle vehicle bylaws, playing of band and musical instruments on a highway, park, or public place bylaw,
That's
swimming
buskers.
pool, yes, swimming pool bylaw, fence bylaw, sign bylaw, animal control bylaw. And AMPS just streamlines enforcement without court involvement because you can just say, I'm guilty. I'm paying this, no harm, no foul. I won't do it again. Or if I do it again, I'm going to get another fine. But you can avoid court, which is good for the city because they can avoid court too.
Yeah, this whole thing is to streamline everything. What happens now and what has happened in the past, they have to go into the courts. Now, what this does say, there's a trying to avoid the courts because the court backlog and the inefficiencies of court tells you a lot about our court system, our legal system. It is antiquated, it's old, it's slow, it's ponderous, it's Byzantine. It's like the city doesn't want to have to use it if they don't have to. So they're going to do the MAPS thing. Now I looked it up. This is perfectly legal.
Yeah,
it's legal throughout Canada. This kind of administrative thing. And it really does. But once you use it, then you cannot, at least for the city, cannot then go to the courts afterwards.
Right.
Once you decide to use this, then you have to be discretionary, basically. Which ones are these particular ones they can use, but they have to be very careful. If one of these happens to be an egregious type of infraction that may endanger somebody or cause property damage, then they may have to go to court on that one.
Yeah.
But 99 times out of 100, probably all they have to do is issue a fine through MAPS, and you pay for it. and that's done. And there is a um, a place for which you can appeal, and there's two levels of appeal. So it looks very fair to me. I looked it over and I'm thinking, is this an intrusion upon our legal rights as a citizen? Is it something that can be abused? And I don't think so. I think their argument that it's much more efficient, it's quicker, it's easier. There may have to be a few modifications as city. It might cost us a little bit more to update the technical wherewithal that we have, but thereafter, it's more efficient, cost effective. So I don't know. This sounds like a Burgess thing to me.
Yeah,
I think it's got Burgess all over it.
Well, John Ringo Beam, he feels it's a tax grab and that you're guilty with the city heading to a non-compliant system where they just say someone has complained. They don't have to tell you who complained. You really want to give them that power. But me, I here's the way I see it. I don't see that many bylaw officers that are just going to go around and start accusing people of breaking bylaws. Most of them come around when you call them. It's a complaint. You're having trouble with your neighbors for one reason or the other, so you call the bylaw guys to get on them about it. And this is where these bylaw guys come out and see stuff. They don't drive around neighborhoods looking for infractions of anything. So I don't see.
Oh, it's hard to get them out of the city.
Yeah, like I don't see them really doing that. Although John has that concern, and it's a valid concern, but I just don't see them doing that. And I think it's just a way to keep everybody in check, because there are people who, especially today, when you have out of town owners of property that are renting and they bring in anybody, and sometimes these people, they just don't respect the neighborhood and they're doing things they shouldn't be doing, and you have no recourse. What are you going to go over with a gun and threaten them? No. So the only thing you have is the city to help you out with this kind of thing, and this will help you out because they're going to come and they're gonna warn them, and you also get a warning. They're not just going to all of a sudden charge you. You're going to get a warning saying you got to stop that, you got to do this, you got to fix that, and if you don't comply, then you're going to get it. And if you do get it, then you have the right. If you want, you don't have to pay the fine. You can say no. I'm going to dispute it.
Yeah, you get 15 days.
Yeah,
15 days, and that is 15 days. The staff has recommended 15 days from when they presume you got the notice, rather than like typically it's 15 days from which the notice has been given. So you get a ticket, whatever, for having a lousy yard or whatever.
Yeah.
So now that may be more legally binding, because if you do it from the day in which you presume they get the information, basically all you're doing is saying 17 days instead of 15, that kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
So I think it should be put in how many days. But other than that, I don't know. That's for the legals to deal with.
I'd like to even take it further when they talk about ADUs, right? Additional dwelling units in your backyard, because they allow that now.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it's in there too.
Yeah, there's something in there about it. So, I mean, I think the ADUs have to be built a certain way. I mean, they got to have running water. They got to have, whatever for the necessities of life. You're building it to have somebody live in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only structure that should be allowed in people's backyards. Right now, I have people living in a tent across the street in the backyard. I have two people living in a tent. They've been there all winter, all summer, and they're just living in this tent in somebody's backyard. The owner is an absentee owner. They live in Toronto, and the renters are letting these people live in the backyard, and they might even be paying rent. And they've been through all this cold living in a tent. Now, here's where I'd like to see. I'd like to see them get tougher and go to there and say, no, if you want to live in the backyard, that's fine. But they have to build a unit for you. You can't live in a tent. And not only because it doesn't fit with our neighborhood, people living in tents. Imagine if everybody in the neighborhood lived in tents.
Well, I remember being down on Ontario Avenue on River Lane. Somebody pulled up right into the park with their mobile home and took a cord and plugged it into the house across the street.
Yeah.
Right. But they were parked in the park. Come on.
I know people. So anyway, that's what these guys have. They have an extension cord running to the house, going to the tent, and they might have a space heater or something in there. I don't know, but it sure isn't safe. There's no safety standards here. That thing could catch fire and kill them both. Like it's ridiculous, but there's nothing you can do the way it stands now. So if they're going to let ADUs be built in the city, I think a bylaw has to be certain standards. The ADU has to meet certain standards if there isn't already, and if it doesn't, it can't be a tent.
How does the fire department inspect the safety of that tent? Like a fire department can regulate fire rules, like for instance, smoke alarms and stuff like that. Well, how do they do that with a tent?
Yeah, and I've said, go check on these people. They could freeze to death overnight in that tent, but nobody does anything from the city. There's nothing they can do. They were living in a Honda Civic in the driveway, a broke down Honda Civic, until they moved up to the tent.
They should be at least in an Accord.
But
way more.
It was uncivil Civic. But I'm telling you, there's no bylaws. People can do this. They can back trailers in the yard and have people living and renting them out to them. And this is why I think, as part and parcel of this bylaw, there should be something about ADUs too, and about people pitching tents and living in them. I mean, come on. I know where are they going to go? I don't know where they're going to go. I don't care where they're going to go. They're young people. They can get jobs and work and get a place, but they don't want to. They sit around doing nothing all day in the tent. So, we got to have some laws about this kind of stuff, because it's going to get more and more common, I think, as we go along here, because we're seeing encampments all over and that.
I wonder where they get their money from.
Welfare.
Don't you have to have a permanent address, or are they?
They probably use the address.
Yeah.
Okay. They probably use the address of the yard they're staying in.
Yeah, it could be.
And like they order skip the dishes to the tent.
Mm-hmm.
So
how big's your backyard there? Can we get some tenders in there?
Well, they'd be sleeping underwater, because my backyard is a pool. I mean, there's no room for a tent. Okay. Although I do have a nice little, one of those little metal sheds they might be able to live in, right? The ones you buy at Canadian Tire.
There's your boarding house.
Yeah, there's your boarding house, right? I just put an extension cord to it. But I'm thinking, why not go buy an old junk trailer, back it in your driveway, plug it in, and rent it out for $500 a month?
Don't give anyone ideas.
No, well, it's probably already happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, moving on. 10.1, Italian Heritage Flag Raising Request. Well, you know what I'm going to say to this, Dave?
No. Hey, paisans, go somewhere else with your flag.
Yeah, get your
Nothing
flag
against
out of here.
you, but we don't want any flag up there.
Hey, I'm Italian, but I don't want any flag. I don't care if it's Italian or otherwise.
I'm quarter Italian myself.
There you go. Queso dicho, right? But no tents, and no flags.
No flag.
11.5. Well, all this about the indigenous thing and the order they present them in and that, get rid of it all. Sing "O Canada," we live in Canada. Get rid of the other stuff. Get over it. Let's go. This DEI baloney has to stop. And I don't want to hear any of it. I just want to hear "O Canada." I live in Canada. I'm Canadian. I'm a T Canadian. I'm a T. And I don't even want to hear it.
I don't
forget about it.
I don't like this one bit. You notice the DEIs everywhere. There's a huge backlash against them.
Yes.
Because they haven't worked. The promise of DEI that they're going to open up the workplace and help the economy and all that was the promise of DEI, but it hasn't happened. I don't understand why you even have these DEI things. How much is that costing us? And this day and age, it's like we don't need it.
That's California.
All you have to do is educate your staff, basic human rights and what's expected of you, and that's it. You don't need to pay somebody like this. It's and when they're talking, and this is all they've got. What happens first? Does the Canadian anthem come up, or does the land acknowledgement come first? That's what they're doing. That's what they're spending their time on.
Oh, Canada. That's it.
Canada, first of all. You know why? That is the general protocol. And they say there is no protocol. Well, yeah, there is. Canada first. The nation first. The nation incorporates the native groups. Right? So, Canada first. Then you can decide thereafter. But usually it's Canada, Ontario, municipality, and then thereafter. but because they're nations unto themselves, there may be some sort of allowances to have it directly after the Canadian anthem, but not before.
Yeah,
Canada first.
I get rid of it all. I just have "O Canada" and let's get on with the meeting.
I'd get rid of the DEI. We don't need that anymore.
We don't need that anymore. Look what California is happening in California right now because of DEI. Yeah. Okay, 15.1 is my last point, Davey. I don't know if you have anything else, but spending money on redesigning the parking lot for the exchange. No, do not spend another dollar on this disaster of a build. Do not spend another taxpayer dollar on this place. Enough is $17 million plus more they want to spend now because they didn't build it right in the first place. They need to stage some bull. Oh, I'm not going to swear. I'm not going to swear. I'm not going to cuss. No. Ruth Ann, only 8. Counselor, only 8. No. That's my bottom line. I'd say no to this. I turned this down so fast. You know, we need counselors with more heart to get up and yell and scream. We don't see passion in council about anything. Hey, we spent $17 million. They want another $65,000 to build some stage or something because they didn't do it right. The farmers market has moved out because it sucks. The whole place. No, not another dime. I don't care who's proposing it.
There's parking lot 13. It's parking lot 13 right at the corner of Main and Ferry. Right at the corner of Main and Ferry, the east side of the street, behind the old liquor store that was there. Parking lot 13. That's huge. It's within walking distance to the exchange. Right? There's all kinds of parking there. All kinds of it. So you have the stuff that's in and around the exchange. Then you've got parking lot 13, which is just a stroll away. So what's the issue with parking?
These people love to spend our money. That's what it is. Just one crazy idea after the other. And it's right in there with concrete ping pong tables. And somebody has got to stand up and say, no, we taxpayers are looking for 17 million plus at this exchange. And it's been a disaster. It's a white elephant. No more. Don't spend another dime on this place. People can walk if there's no parking. I mean, they built it knowing there wasn't enough parking. Why didn't they fix it before they built it?
Seriously. Yeah. That's been everybody's issue. You're going to put the farmer's market back down there where there's no... Well, they did. And guess what? They're going to put it back out in the main center, aren't they?
You know, Dave, I was doing pretty good until 15.1. I was getting through the meeting, not riled up. I was pretty good.
Yeah, it's getting warm in here.
And then something just gets me and I go here. Use it. Please use it. No more. And that's all I got to say. I'm done with this meeting. That's it for me, Dave. I don't know about you.
And I don't know why they never mentioned parking lot 13. It's right there. It's right at the corner, like just behind the buildings there on the north side of Lundy's Lane or Ferry Street there. There is a big parking lot. You can walk easily to the exchange from there.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, never once have I heard it even being uttered that it's there by the councilors. I don't even know if they know it's there. Right across from the convenience store there.
Well, they audit it all the time, and they actually have the parking report in this on how much money they're making off these parking lots. So they must know it's there.
There's hardly any car in there. Every once in a while, I see a wreck in there, but it's a parking lot there. And I guess one of the reasons why it doesn't get used is because there's that big parking lot for the store there. There's ample parking along the street.
Yeah.
A lot of time for normal business there. But they got that nice big parking lot back there. Parking lot 13 has a little sign on it. Lot 13.
Yeah, today's January 13th.
Yeah. Coincidental? I think not.
I don't believe in coincidences at all. Okay, Davey boy, that's it for me. We're getting out of here.
Okay.
I think we ran through it. Now we got to watch the meeting and see what happens. Please tune in tomorrow. You can tune in NiagaraFalls.ca. You can tune in on YouTube. You can watch the meeting live. It starts at 4 p.m. And hopefully it's not going to go too long tomorrow. I don't think it. Who knows? These guys are time wasters. They're time wasters at $1,600 an hour. So they're time wasters. We know that. Hopefully they cut the meeting short. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Dave Wheeler. And what are we saying, Dave? Goodbye. See you later.
Without further ado, I bid you adieu.
Your City, Your Voice, Manic Monday, 4680Q Radio, downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget to support my sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Shop. They support the city, support them. Subscribe to the channel. Leave us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Leave some comments on what you have to say. We love comments, good or bad, and we will see you tomorrow. Well, Dave won't be here tomorrow, but I'll be here tomorrow at noon.
One last thing. Could I have a GoFundMe to make effigies of the city council members so Paul can give them flying drop kicks?
Sometimes I feel like it. But no violence. We just vote them out.
That's it.
That's the easiest way to get rid of them. Just vote them out in November 2026 at the election.
It's okay to beat up
Anyway.
an effigy.
We're out of here. Have a good day, everybody. See you tomorrow with Trash Talking Tuesday live at noon on 4680Q Radio. Ciao, ciao for now. We'll talk to you later, everybody. And don't forget, please use it.